What is going on, everybody? It is Matt here with Sixers Sync, back again after game one of the second round between the Sixers and the Knicks. We're going to look through the highlights, we're going to look through the box score real quick, but I'm going to be honest with you. This was not a good game. So let's get right into it. Let's watch a little bit of Sixers basketball, see what we think. Game one between the Knicks and the Sixers. Obviously, this game on the road in Madison Square Garden. But the Knicks are a quick team. They like to move in transition. You see there, it's a bad breakdown. Embiid's pretty much walking down the floor. Here's Karl Anthony Towns from three. Let's take a look at this defense. Let's break it down a little bit, see what Nick Nurse has going on, right? So we're playing man. Let's look at the matchups, especially compared to what I thought they were going to be, right? So you have Brunson with Edgecombe on him, which I like. I think VJ's a quicker defender. I think it's a little bit of an easier assignment for him. Not easier as in, Brunson isn't good, but easier as in VJ's a better defender on Brunson than Maxey would be. So Maxey's on Bridges, Oubre's on Hart, which is interesting. Honestly, I would rather have Oubre on Bridges size-wise, defensively, and then you have Embiid and PG on OG, which I think is a good matchup there. So Brunson's trying to get the ball. They're obviously clearing for an ISO. Towns has it. VJ's sticking. Kind of gets beat off the edge. He goes the wrong way around Embiid. And Towns just shoots here. So overall defensively, it's okay, right? But I think Embiid was really suffering from the lack of time between Game 7 and Game 1, which was 2 days. And here's where problems arise for the Sixers. So Maxey has the ball. Look at this. Look at the way that the Knicks have set this up on purpose to get bigger defenders on the smaller shot makers. Let's be honest. Kelly Oubre has not been a producer so far in these playoffs. He has not really been a threat besides off the cut. So from set position, he really has not been a challenge for defenses. So what did the Knicks do? They say, all right, Jalen Brunson, go guard Kelly Oubre. Because Jalen Brunson, let's be honest, Jalen Brunson's not a good defender. He's a great offensive player. He's not a good defender, right? So they stick Brunson on Oubre, which is smart from the Knicks. Hart on Paul George was interesting. I thought you'd put OG on Paul George, but they say we can go either or, right? You have OG on VJ. That's a nightmare matchup. And then Bridges on Maxey for the Knicks is good. For the Sixers is terrible because Maxey has trouble. So you see how they're kind of forming this wall here to stop Maxey. Now what I would like to do, you obviously want to see him go to Embiid here, but I understand you have the length of Bridges there, and that's what the Knicks schemed. So he goes to VJ instead. Look at this. This is a nightmare. This is a nightmare for VJ Edgecombe as a rookie in the league who's really been attacking based off of speed and agility. Having a 6'8" defender is just not good. So you see he's kind of deciding. He ends up shooting and making the shot, which, it's good shot making and it's a good sign to see, but that's just a nightmare. And that's something the Sixers have to find out how to beat. And Brunson, don't even get me started. Just real quick. Where's the foul here? He's straight up. Where's the foul? I don't understand that. And that's what I was talking about last game. I know I sound salty. I'm going to try not to sound salty, but it's just... the fouls like that get called like that are really only at MSG. I'll be honest. And I said that in the last video too. But the Sixers, you can't really be super mad, right? There's Embiid, goes in on Robinson. Nice feed pass, and that's where Kelly Oubre has been effective. So let's look at this Sixers offense, right? I'll back it up again. That way we can see how they actually set up. So we have a different defensive scheme from the Knicks here, right? Because you have Mitch Robinson on now. Brunson is still on Oubre, so we know at this point in the game at least, and we don't know going into game 2, but we at least know that their original plan was to put Brunson on Kelly Oubre. So that becomes your mismatch. Hart on Edgecombe is good. That's the matchup you want. But the problem is up top here. Mikal Bridges is such a difficult assignment for Tyrese Maxey. And Mitch Robinson is a pine cone when guarding Embiid, right? So what would I like to see here? There needs to be motion. There needs to be something. You don't have to set a screen. Maybe Paul George comes around the back, tries to go to the baseline. Maybe he goes down to the free throw line and Maxey comes over the top. Maybe Edgecombe cuts through the middle here. Isolation offense is not going to work with these five on the floor, and even with Towns on the floor. Sorry, I was pointing at the camera. Even with Towns on the floor, it's not going to work because the Knicks guard isolation well because they have a big lineup. They have a big lineup compared to the Sixers. So what happens? Embiid tells them clear out. So there's already, bad thing number one because that shouldn't happen. I understand Embiid wants the assignment with Robinson, but he tells him to clear out. What happens? Immediately, here comes the double team as soon as he goes to work. Now, this is a light double. Maxey's not even moving. One of these two guys, your elite shot makers, needs to go to the weak side so that Embiid can stop, right? If he stops here, now he dumps here because Brunson's slow. But if he stops here and he looks around, nobody's in this space. That's my frustration with Tyrese Maxey, especially from this game. But this is a good read by Embiid, and that's what Kelly Oubre needs to do because Jalen Brunson is slow in defensive coverage. But offensively, Brunson was frying everybody, no matter who you put in front of him. He was cooking. So, see, now he's got Paul George on him. Paul George bites on the screen. Little push. It's not egregious. I'm not super mad about Brunson's kind of extension because it's not as egregious as Jaylen Brown. And there's good shot making from Embiid as well. But you can't live with that. And this is atrocious. This is atrocious. So this is a better shot by Jalen Brunson. But look at the concept here. Just from this frame alone. Sorry the ref's in the way, but what are you doing? What is the plan here? Because Brunson's frying the Sixers at this point in the game, so I understand you want to double. Why are you doubling with the two slowest guys on the court for the Sixers right now? Joel Embiid, this is a silly mistake, and this should not happen. I understand Mitch Robinson isn't a threat at the key, but he's going to immediately dump down. So what did the Sixers do? You can already see it. Quentin Grimes is already leaving his assignment because he sees that Mitch Robinson's going to come down. Where do you think Edgecombe's going to go here? He takes a step towards Robinson, and Embiid is now, he has to cover, 10 feet of ground. This is terrible defense. Paul George is standing straight up. He's not even in a defensive stance, despite being in a double team assignment. Josh Hart is going to be wide open. Deuce McBride is going to be wide open. This is terrible. Now, Brunson, because he's a shot maker, pulls this three, but he really could kick to a wide open three, and they could potentially do a one more pass either to Grimes, to McBride or Robinson, depending on, because this is a huge mismatch until Embiid gets back there. And he doesn't even have position for an offensive rebound. So Brunson splashes this, but that's disaster. That's disaster, and that's the small mistakes that ate the Sixers up. This is ridiculous here. Towns gets the ball. Take a look at the assignments. You have Alvarado on the court now. So this is kind of a smaller lineup. That's a travel by Karl Anthony Towns, by the way. And this is what I'm talking about with Madison Square Garden home court, right? Look, and this is just a problem in the NBA, but we don't have to talk about that. But look at this. Picks it up. He drags his foot. He drags his foot and takes two steps. So he travels, he gets his own rebound, puts it up. This is another example here of Sixers defense that I don't like, especially with Jalen Brunson off the floor. These kind of mistakes cannot happen. So Andre Drummond, I like where he is. He has a tendency to overplay a lot. For centers that don't have a shot, he will overplay. So the Knicks go double big lineup. So this is important defensive scheming for the Sixers, right? Maxey goes over. Drummond stays in drop coverage. This is good. Cut off the lane. But what happens? Kelly Oubre gets scared. He's scared because Drummond's a little slow backtracking. Doesn't understand that Drummond is in the passing lane. And that is an extremely hard pass to make for a guy like Mikal Bridges there. So Bridges feeds, but he's not going to Robinson. He's going to the guy who's now wide open. Hart gets that with plenty of time to shoot, and he just bangs it in his face. And this possession is a good example of how maybe the Sixers can game plan to beat the Knicks. Because the Knicks have 4 or 5 starters out. They have Alvarado in instead of Brunson, but I'm going to be honest, Alvarado's a better defender than Brunson. So, if anything, this is a better kind of tell for the Sixers defensively. So, the key factor to this, right? They get an offensive rebound. Look at where Karl Anthony Towns is on the floor right now. And this is what the Sixers have to take advantage of. It is no secret that Karl Anthony Towns, yes, he's a big man. He is not a good defender. I'm going to be honest. Feel free to disagree with me, but I feel like it's pretty basic knowledge. He's not a very good defender. And look at him. He's way out of position because he thought the Knicks were going to grab that rebound. This is what the Sixers have to do. You have to play off of mistakes by the big man. In a single big lineup when the Knicks are running just Towns on the floor, this is what has to happen, right? The Knicks are all out of order. They're all mismatched. Maxey gets the ball. Mikal Bridges is saying he's going to shoot this, so he comes hands up. What does Maxey do that he wasn't doing for most of this game? He cuts downhill, and this is all you have to do. That's all you have to do. As soon as Karl Anthony Towns is out of the paint, that's all you have to do is get downhill, get to the basket, okay? Because Tyrese Maxey is one of the best at going downhill, getting to the rim, and getting a layup. But he abandoned that in this game. And now that we go back to full starter lineups, all starters on the floor once again. This is halfway through the second quarter here. Game plan on how to beat the Knicks. Brunson is always going to be on who they see as the least effective offensive player. So he's on Grimes, Hart on George, and then you have the brutal reality, right, that you're going to have Bridges and Anunoby on Maxey and Edgecombe for a lot of these games. But Bridges overplays, right? So here's Embiid's gravity. Bridges is going to come to double. So he is Edgecombe's assignment. So what does Edgecombe do right away, which is really good? He cuts. Now Embiid goes to Maxey because OG's a little late. So what does Bridges do? Because Bridges doesn't know that he's supposed to be on Edgecombe. He thinks he's supposed to be on Maxey. They send a double. Brunson covers well. And here's where Embiid just kind of does what he wants. But maybe you want a little bit more from Embiid here, right? Because he gets the ball again. Here comes a triple team from the Knicks. First of all, Quentin Grimes has to know to kick out. He has to go to the top of the key or to the wing here. Because with Josh Hart on him, if Hart's going to Embiid, he's wide open. If Hart follows him, George can cut through. But he does the complete opposite. And he just rotates to the baseline. Now, George is still open. This is a tough look for Embiid, though. Maxey's flat-footed. Edgecombe's in no man's land. Triple team comes because Grimes rotates the wrong way. But here's where I would like to see Embiid try to kick it out. Now, I understand why he doesn't. Because he steps through here. And he does get this shot to fall. But that's the kind of game plan you need to see adjustments made for. But this is an atrocious switch. This is like when Embiid kept switching on to like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. This can't happen. So Embiid goes to double team Jalen Brunson, which is fine because at this point Brunson has like 25 points. This can't happen. Grimes cannot willingly switch. At all costs, keep that double there and say, you know what, we're going to force Cat to make this shot. Because at this point in the game, you'd rather have Cat taking that shot. It's not good either way. Brunson feeds to Cat. The switch happens, which is just horrible. And Cat is smart enough to know I'm not going to go set a screen. I'm going to let my guard ISO on Joel Embiid. And MSG crowd, obviously, of course, loves this. But this can't happen. Because Joel's going to lose every scenario. There's 3 Sixers to 2 Knicks in the paint. So what happens? Shot goes up. Embiid's got his man. Maxey's boxing out. Oubre's ball watching. Ball takes a weird bounce. Maxey doesn't even jump for it. Embiid doesn't jump for it. Oubre watches it. Look at this camera flash, by the way. So Hart gets the rebound. Where's Paul George? He's gone. Paul George is gone. He's missing. Mikal Bridges is wide open. Paul George still could not even be bothered could not be bothered to at least come back and switch on to OG Anunoby. So Bridges, there he is. There's Paul George while the shot's already halfway to the basket. It's poor effort. Oh, it's poor effort. Oubre is sleeping. He's in the restricted area. Oubre goes out to contest. You have 3 Sixers to 1 Knick. Mikal Bridges is crashing. Your big man Joel Embiid is not. So ball goes up. Take a guess at who's getting this rebound. Both Knicks players jumped. None of the 3 Sixers jumped. Nobody bothered to say, hey, where's the guy with 24 points in the first half? So Paul George, as he does with a late assignment, Brunson drills it. Knicks end the first half hot, and I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to bore you with the second half of this game because this was a rout. So we're going right to the box score. So what went wrong? Here's example number 1. I just highlighted the whole page because that really is the answer, the whole page. But first of all, starters luckily tonight did not play 40 minutes like they have been over the last 4 games, which is, we'll take that as a win because they get a little bit more rest. Embiid shot 3 of 11. He only grabbed 4 boards. He had 1 assist. Paul George played great, though. I don't know why they didn't feed him more. Shot well from the field, had 4 threes. Kelly Oubre, also much better game than we're used to. Tyrese Maxey took 9 shots, made no threes. Can't happen. I'm sorry. Joel had a bad split. He shot 3 of 11. Of course you don't want him taking more shots. When Maxey got downhill, he was effective. He went to the line for 7 free throws. I need more from him. Absolutely need more. Edgecombe, 5 of 11. That's good. He made a couple threes. I don't mind it. It's fine. It was a bad game. Sixers bench, of course, some of the guys that don't usually play got some points. Quentin Grimes, 5 points in 24 minutes. He took 4 shots. Sixers as a team did shoot 37% from 3, but 41% from the field is just not going to cut it. OG, 7 of 8 from the field. Cat, 7 of 11 from the field. Brunson, 12 of 18. Bridges, 7 of 10. Are you serious with that as your shooting splits from your starters? That is unbelievable. OG didn't miss a 3. Mikal, 3 of 5. Cat, 3 of 5. Brunson, 3 of 6. He had 8 free throws. They just, plain and simple, they outplayed the Sixers. But what's important, and what I'll give the Sixers a little bit of credit for, right? OG had 3 fouls. Cat had 4 fouls. Mitch Robinson had 4 fouls, and their third center had 4 fouls as well. So the Sixers did a good job of putting the Knicks in foul trouble, but they shot 63% from the field, 50% from 3. That's a horrible way to open the series. But will the Knicks shoot 60% from the field as a team and 50% from 3 again in this series? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think so. And what I'll always say is, it's the same thing with the Celtics, right? These kind of teams are always going to have one game, at least one game, where they just don't miss. And then you just have to live with that. So I would always take game 1 as being the game where the Knicks come out hot, they're rested, they're ready to go, and they just shoot the lights out. Because the Sixers prove they can put the big men in foul trouble. And what happened when they did that versus the Celtics? It completely changed the trajectory of that series. But the Celtics is a thing in the past, obviously. We're looking at the Knicks going forward. It could, maybe it can't get much worse than this. But I'm going to go with the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say it could be worse for the Sixers right now. It was a bad shooting night for the Sixers and an astronomically good shooting night for the Knicks. So the Sixers play Wednesday. I should be able to hopefully get a video recorded and ready to upload for Wednesday night or Thursday. We'll see how it goes. Thank you guys all for watching. I know this one was not pretty, but yeah, hopefully the Sixers come out a little bit better in game 2. We'll have to wait and see. So as always, guys, I hope you have a good day, and remember to love basketball.